today we are going to do the complete analysis of Rajasthan Public Service Commission paper, English paper 1, which is about literary criticism and some part is grammar. This exam was conducted yesterday and there will be many new questions that you are going to learn. I'll be giving you some additional information for each question so that it will help you out for the upcoming NET exam. Few instructions for all of you. You can zoom in your screen if it is not visible. You can double tap your screen to zoom in and you have to type your answer in the chat box. You can evaluate yourself. The questions, some of the questions are really very standard and we are going to have the very good revision of literary criticism classes that we have read through the last 6 months. So if all of you are ready, I'm going to start with the first question. You can zoom in and read the question thoroughly. The first question is, the personal is political. It is an essay written by. This question is from Feminist Criticism. Okay, so you know Betty Friedan, we have studied Sylvia Plath, not at all associated with feminist criticism. Alice Walker, not much associated with feminist criticism. So the right option for this is Carol Hanisch. It's quite new name. Personal is political or private is political. Both the terms are used for the same purpose, and Carol Hanisch is an American feminist critic and she is associated with second wave of criticism. So you know second wave of criticism was from 1960 to 1980 and from 1980 to 2008 is the third wave of criticism. And after that, from 2009 till now, the fourth wave is in progress. What about the first wave? Before 1960 is the age of the first wave. If exact year I tell you about the first wave feminism, then Simone de Beauvoir in her book, The Second Sex, says that the first woman to take up her pen against the defense of her sex was Christine. You can note down the name. Christine de Pizan. Christine de Pizan was the first one in the 15th century who took up her pen against the defense of her sex. However, if we talk about the British feminist criticism, then we can take as Mary Wollstonecraft's work. So the right answer is Carol Hanisch. Okay, next move on to question number 2. This is from Poco Theory. And I hope all of you are quite comfortable with this question. Okay, so I can see many of you are confused. See, there is a very minute difference between mimicry, hybridity, ambivalence, and liminality. All these 4 terms are used by Homi Bhabha. I would like to suggest you that just remember a few keywords. If I talk about the word mimicry, mimicry is about articulation, about a speech. When there is duplication or double articulation, that is, one is the colonial language and the other is the native language. When both the languages are combined together, it is called mimicry. So the question says a concept propounded by Homi Bhabha in the post-colonial theory, which is a sign of double articulation. This is the umbrella term, which will give you the entire clue of this answer. It is asking about articulation, a strategy which appropriates the other as it visualizes the power. So when the matter of articulation comes, it is mimicry. When the matter of culture comes, when the two culture, colonized culture and the native culture are mixed together, a new culture is created, that is hybridity. You also call it as a third space. When the psychology, when the matter of comes psychology, when the two psyche is mixed together, that is foreign psyche, that is colonized psyche and the native psyche, it becomes ambivalence. So ambivalence is related to thought and emotion. Hybridity is related to culture. And liminality is a kind of transition. Like if I draw a graph, this top point is known as transition. That means gradually the change starts taking place, whether you call it a mimicry or hybridity or ambivalence. At some point, the native has learned all those colonized languages, and after that, he starts changing himself. So this is called the transition point, what Bhabha called is liminality. If any one of you have any doubt in between, you can put your mic on and ask your doubts. Or if you have any objections on the answer, again, you can ask your doubts. So the right answer is mimicry, A. Move on to the question number 3. We have just studied in the previous revision class. Another question from feminist criticism. The Female Eunuch. It's by Jeremiah Greer. Sexual Politics by Toril Moy. All of you are giving the right answer. That's great. The Sex Which Is Not Won by Louis Irigaray and The Beauty Myth by Naomi Wolf. So 3 is the right answer. And all of you are right. All of you are getting the right answer. Okay, next move on to question number 4. Question number 4. Individualism, experimentation, absurdity, symbolism are the main characteristics of which literature? Almost all of you are giving the right answer, but some of you are confused. Okay, I'll give you a clue. Theater of the absurd, associated with modern and postmodern. Just think and reply. If you're not aware about the others, experimentation, individualism, and symbolism. You're very well aware about the theater of the absurd. The modern period or postmodern period?
Modern.
Modern period 1914 to 1945. And postmodern after 1945. Waiting for Godot, a very famous absurd play by Samuel Beckett. The right answer is postmodernism.
Yes, sir. And sir, the theater, sir, Waiting for Godot was published in 1952.
But in English, I think it's 54, right, sir?
1954. In English, it was 1954.
52 was in French.
In French. So theater of the absurd was very popular during 1950s, and this was the time of the postmodern age. So postmodernism is the right answer. Okay, let's move on to question number 5. Post-structuralism. Question from post-structuralism. Michel Foucault. I'm getting different answers. Okay, all these terms are given by Michel Foucault only. Heterotopia, discursive formation, archive, episteme, all are given by Michel Foucault. Okay, let me explain. Heterotopia is the term used by Michel Foucault to explain the cultural institution, which because of the power, the institution becomes the otherness of the institution. That is called heterotopia. Discursive formation, the formation of the personality because of discourse. Third is the archive, that is the total set of collection of the text. When a text is collected in the sets, that is known as archive. And episteme, it is the unconscious structure of the mind. Episteme is the unconscious structure of the mind, or you can say the knowledge. Okay, move on to the question number 6. Another very important question from cultural criticism. Many times we are talking about polyphony, heteroglossia, chrontop. I think Pearlians should not commit the mistake. We have talked so many times about this question. Okay, Tanmay is right. Kavita, Deepika, Prakash, Mana, Momita, Vimla, all of you are right. The right answer is dialogism. So dialogism is the interaction between the author and the reader and the work. Polyphony, you know, when many voices appears in a one work. Heteroglossia, when many speeches appear in a work. And chrontop, that is the presence of time and space in a novel. So the right answer of this question is dialogism. All of you are doing great. Let's move on to the next question, question number 7. This question is from diasporic literature. A positional aesthetics reading from a hyphenated space. It's a book by diasporic. Tanmay and Amit are right. The right answer is Arun Prabha Mukherjee. Arun Prabha Mukherjee is the writer of Oppositional Aesthetics, reading from a hyphenated space. Okay, let's move on to question number 8. Who has coined the term backlash? This question is from Black Feminism. Okay, I cannot find the right answer by any one of you. The right answer is Susan Faludi. The right answer is Susan Faludi. She is the Pulitzer Prize winner of 1991. Susan Faludi is the Pulitzer Prize winner for 1991. She is not an author, but initially when she got the Pulitzer Prize, he was a journalist, and he got this award for explanatory journalism. Explanatory journalism. After she got the Pulitzer Prize, she turned towards criticism, and then she wrote the works of Black Feminism, where she asked for the Black women's for liberation, and there she has used the term backlash. Okay, so now let's move on to question number 9. Again, another question from post-colonialism. The Rest of the Earth, the origin of the title. Okay, most of you are right. Suma, Pratigya, Tanmay, you are right. The right answer is A. Race to the Earth has been taken its title from the opening lyrics of a left-wing anthem, The International, which is written by Pierre D. Gator. He was the writer of this anthem, and from there, Frantz Fanon has taken his title, The Race of the Earth. Okay, now let's move to question number 10. Cultural materialism comes under which school? Namit and Suma has given the right answer. The right answer is Frankfurt School. Okay, let's talk a brief about all these schools. Chicago School was formulated in 1930. This school is also known as Neo-Aristotelian group. Neo-Aristotelian. It was founded by R.S. Crane and followed by W.C. Booth. The Chicago School was, as I said, a Neo-Aristotelian. So their ideas was in reaction to the new critics. 1940s, 30s and 40s were the period of new criticism. So this new Chicago School of Critics reacted against the new critics. That's why on the ground of Aristotelian principle, that's why they are known as Neo-Aristotelian. Let's talk about Frankfurt School. Frankfurt School was founded in the year 1923 by Karl. You can make a note. Karl Grunberg. Karl Grunberg. So they were specifically associated with the cultural materialism. If we talk about the Prague School, it was during 1920s. This school was a linguistic school. And Rinzai School is not associated with any of the literature school. It is a kind of Japanese Buddhist school. Okay, so the right answer is Frankfurt School. Okay, next move on to the question number 11. Next question. Who says a cultural materialism it is a politicized form of historiography? Another question from cultural studies. So it's quite new question. I'm very sure nobody has read this question. That's why I'm getting all different answers. The right answer to this question is Graham Holderness. He is a British critic. He said that politicized form of historiography. Cultural materialism is a politicized form of historiography. Graham Holderness is the right answer. The next question, question number 12, again from diasporic literature. Avatar Bra has written a book on diaspora. I have got only two right answers, Pimla and Suma. The right answer is Categories of Diaspora. Diaspora and Identity is written by Ajay Kumar Sahu. Cartographies of Diaspora by Avatar Bra. Diaspora and Transitionalism is by Rainer Bubock. And Diaspora and Hybridity is written by so many authors. John Hutnick is the main author. ETAL. There are many authors associated with this work. So the right answer is Cartographies of Diaspora. Another diasporic question, question number 13. Okay, all of you are right. Namit, Suma, Kavita, Bimla, Pradeepa, Tanmay, all of you are giving the right answer. Raymond William is not associated with any diasporic literature. He is associated with cultural criticism. He is a cultural critic and Marxist critic. So Raymond William is the right answer. Let's move on to the next question, question number 14. This question we have read during feminism. It comes under the second wave feminism. Liberalism, liberal feminism. All of you are right. Equal treatment in the public sphere. In the second wave feminism, the females were fighting for the equal treatment. They should be treated like a man. So equal treatment in the public sphere is the right answer. All of you are right. Next, move on to question number 15. This question is from post-structuralism. The clue word is historicity of text and the textuality of history. Very famous quotation. Historicity of text and textuality of history. Previously also it has been asked in NET exam. And the right answer is Louis Montrose. I didn't get any right answer. Right answer is Louis Montrose, who is an American critic, American post-structuralist critic. Okay, move on to question number 16. This is about postmodernism. This is about the feature of postmodernism. Question number 16. Okay, so I have got any right answers? Pratigya, Sumana, Namit. Differences of viewpoint. Vimla also. Differences of viewpoint should be celebrated by the postmodernism. That means we have to see a text from different perspectives. That is known as interdisciplinary approach. So that is very popular nowadays, interdisciplinary approach. Lots of researches are being conducted. Okay, so now let's move on to question number 70. The question is looking bulky. But if you know the keyword, you can very well identify this answer. Okay, so Kavita, Tanmay, Pratigya, Suma, Jayaprakash, Sumana, Vimla, all of you are right. Jacques Derrida has talked about binary opposition in the post-structuralism. So Jacques Derrida is the right answer. Let's move on to question number 18. Again, a key term, panopticon or panopticism. Very famous term from post-structuralism. Okay, Suma, Tanmay, Pratigya, Kavita, Momita, Vimla, all of you are right. The right answer is Michel Foucault. Panopticon is all about a place where the criminals are kept and they are kept under surveillance. That is a place called Panopticon. So Michel Foucault is the right answer. This term has appeared in his work Discipline and Punish. Okay, let's move on to question number 19. Who first welcomed us to the desert of the real? All of you are giving the right answer. Namit, Kavita, Pratigya, Vimla, Jean Baudrillard is the person who has used this phrase, the desert of the real, in his work, The Matrix. This was the work in which Jean Baudrillard has used this term with simulacra and simulacrum. And Morpheus is the character who is telling this quotation. Later on, from Jean Baudrillard's The Matrix, this term was taken by Zizek, Slavoj Zizek. And he has also written the same phrase into form of a book. Baudrillard has written this phrase in this, it's not a book, it is a phrase by Baudrillard, but it was used as a book name by Slavoj Zizek. Okay, let's move on to question number 20. So many times we have read about ego, ID, and superego. I hope all of you should correct this question. Was taught by me very clearly in psychoanalytical criticism. Okay, so I have got the right answer by Namit, Sumana, Pratigya. Okay, so the right answer is 3. So number 3. So you know ID, Eid is the that is depend upon the pleasure principle, and it is there since birth. ID is there in everyone, and it is there since birth. Whereas superego talks about the morality principle, what is right, what is wrong. That indication is given by superego part of the mind. And ego talks about the reality principle, what should happen actually. And in the class, I have given a very beautiful example that if you are driving a bike or a car, if you enjoy driving it without thinking anything else, that is the Eid. Because you enjoy, that is the pleasure principle. Enjoyment is the primary thing, nothing else. And if you know that if you drive fast, there is a chance of accident and you may die. So that is the morality. You know that is morally wrong. It is the morality. So what is the reality? The reality will tell that, okay, where there is a freer space, drive fast, and where there is a crowd, drive slow. That is the reality. So ego is giving a libidinal energy to the superego. It is giving an energy to the morality to take a decision. So it lends its libidinal energy to the superego. That's the right option. Kavita is also.
Sorry for
Yes.
the interruption.
Yes, please.
But when you're saying it, just now you said ego is pleasure seeking, but
No,
at the same time,
Eid is pleasure seeking. Eid is pleasure seeking.
Okay, so the we like childlike without thinking about the consequences.
Exactly. Eid is the pleasure principle, superego morality, and ego is on the reality principle. Okay, let's move on to question number 21. Another question from feminist criticism. Very easy question. Okay, so all of you are giving the right answer. Pratigya, Kavita, Vimla, Deepika. Fourth is the right answer. You know, feminist criticism is all about the study of women, about their experience, about their marginalization, about their oppression. It is not talking about motherhood. So fourth is the right answer. If you do not know anything about feminist criticism, then also you can mark it as right answer. So explain how and when women become responsible mothers is the right option for this question. Let's move on to question number 22. Another question from feminist criticism. So many questions has been asked from feminism. So this question is about which of the following is not one of the Alan Showalter's 4 model of sexual difference. How we can identify sexual difference. So Alan Showalter has given 4 methods, and out of the 4, occasional is not there. She has said that we can identify biologically who is a male and a female. We can identify linguistically, that means by oration, by verbal. We can identify a male and a female through their sound and a pitch. Third is psychoanalytic. Through the psychology of male and female we can identify. And the fourth is cultural. So these are the 4 methods through which a sexual difference can be determined according to Alan Showalter. So all of you give the right answer. Let's move on to question number 23. We have very well read about Sigmund Freud. So I should get a right answer by all of you. All of you are absolutely right. Interpretation of Dreams, Civilization and its Discontent, and Studies in Hysteria. All these works by Sigmund Freud, and Future of Disillusion by G.A. Cohen. So 4 is the right answer for this question. That's very good. All of you are going great. Let's move on to question number 24. This is another question from feminist criticism. Representation of the world like the world itself is the work of man. They describe it from their own point of view. So you can see here there is a description of first wave feminism. In the first wave feminism, the women said that the entire society is man dominated and they do not have any place in the society. So this obviously it is from the first wave feminism, which they confuse with absolute truth. Jay Prakash and Babita has given the right answer. Right answer is Simon D. Beauvoir, the second sex. The quotation has been taken from Simon D. Beauvoir, the second sex. Okay, let's move on to question number 25. Another question from psychoanalytical criticism. Jack Lacan. Yeah, very well studied. Okay, so Pratigya, Namit, both are right. The right answer is mirror stage. Mirror stage is the stage after 6 months when child starts recognizing himself. When he sees into the mirror, then he realizes his existence in the world. That is the mirror stage. So it is the imaginary order. The subject's own image permanently catches and captivates the subject. So this is the time the mirrors. Yes, please.
So can you explain the term alterity?
Yes, alterity is a term given by Sigmund Freud. And he said that a mind can alter. Alter means it can be changed with the help of psychoanalysis. If anyone suffering of some unconscious problem or psychological disorder, if he is consulting some psychoanalysis, the alterity can be achieved. The psychological change can be achieved. Castration is also given by Sigmund Freud. That is, the fear of losing their sex organs. That is called as castration anxiety. That's a term used by Sigmund Freud. Symbology is not a term. It's not used anywhere. Okay, question number 26. It is not the concept explored by Freud. All of you are giving the right answer. Pratigya, Tanmay, Kavita. Myth. Myth is associated with Carl Jung. That is collective unconsciousness and archetypes. Myths, myth and archetype, Carl Jung. Oedipus complex, slip of tongue, and unconsciousness. All these terms were given by Sigmund Freud. So Jayaprakash, Suma, Babita, Kavita, all of you are right. So the right answer to this question is myth. Let's move on to the next question, question number 27. This is another question from post-structuralism, especially to Michel Foucault. We have another Michel Foucault in our group, Namit. People know what they do. Frequently, they know why they do, what they do. But what they don't know is what they do does. The right answer is given by Pratigya, Suma, Sumana. The right answer is madness and civilization. This quotation, very deep question from Michel Foucault. Sumana is also right. Okay, so let's move on to next question number 28. Who speaks is not who writes, and who writes is not who is. So speaking and writing, if it's the question is asked, so it is from the death of the author. And you know the right answer is Roland Barthes. So all of you are giving the right answer. Deepika, Tanmay, Suma, Sumana, Vimla, Momita, all of you are right. Roland Barthes, the death of the author. Okay, next question of grammatology. Question number 29. You can later note down the important points. You'll be getting the video of this class, so need not to hasten writing down the points. Of grammatology, the preface. Tanmay, Deepika, Babita, Vimla, all of you right. There is a description of Rousseau in the preface. Rousseau is absolutely right. Let's move on to the next question, question number 30. A bit difficult question. Who argued that literary critics' relationship to literary discourse is the same as linguistic relationship to the language? Rather, we have studied this quotation in our class, if you can recall. You just remember that Todorov and Vladimir Prop has not given anything. They have not written anything. Only the left options are Roland Barthes and Roman Jakobson. Roman Jakobson has obviously written so many things, starting from formalism, then structuralism. The right answer is Roland Barthes. Again, the death of the author. He has argued that literary critics' relationship to literary discourse is the same as the linguist's relationship to the language. So Roland Barthes again is the right answer. I did not get any right answer by any one of you. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Claude Lévi-Strauss gave a structural reading of which famous story? All of you giving the right answer. Deepika, Suma, Sumana, Tanmay, Maumita, Oedipus Rex is the right answer. Claude Lévi-Strauss was a structuralist, and Oedipus Rex was written by Sophocles. Okay, let's move on to question number 32. Very easy question. All of you right. Tanmay, Suma, Pratigya, Vimla, Sumana, Kavita, all of you right. Kind of criticism that appears in towards the feminist poetics very well, and we have read in our classes. Okay, all of you right. That's brilliant. Okay, let's move on to question number 33. Another very easy question. Yes, all of you are again right. So study of sign, that is signifier and signified. That's by Ferdinand de Saussure. That's absolutely right. Okay, so let's move on to next question. Question number 34. This question is from New Historicism. But the question is asking about the focus on Romantic period. Okay, the right answer to this question is Romantic ideology. I didn't get any right answer by any one of you. The Romantic ideology by Jerome Macon. Jerome J. Macon. The New Historicism is by Aram Wazir. And Practicing New Historicism is by Catherine Golgar. And Rethinking Historicism is by Marjorie Levinson. Okay, so the right answer is Romantic ideology, in which Jerome Macon is talking about the main focus about the ideology of the Romantic period. Even if you don't know, if you read the options, you can identify that if they are talking about the Romantic ideology, definitely it's about the Romantic period. Okay, let's move on to question number 35. Yes, Dheeraj, you will get the video recordings. This video will be uploaded in the YouTube and you can watch the video over there. Okay, this question from Homi Bhabha. Post-colonialism. So he has written an essay, The Commitment to the Theory, where he has, as you know, he is a post-colonial author. So definitely he will only talk about post-colonialism only, no post-structuralism, no post-structuralism, post-colonial. That's the right answer. A critique of post-colonial theory of the subaltern. So Kavita has given the right answer to this question. Okay, let's move on to question number 36. among the following is the common convention of postmodern writing? So here the third time they have asked the feature of postmodern. So metafiction and intertextuality by Julia Kristeva. That's absolutely right. So D is the right answer. All of you given the right answer. That's brilliant. Let's move on to question number 37. Another question from post-colonialism. Which theoretical work is often cited as the book that created the field of post-colonialism? Created. That means it is the first main book of post-colonialism. And all of you right, Edward Said, Orientalism, 1978. This is regarded as the key book in the area of post-colonialism. So Edward Said's Orientalism is the right answer. Let's move on to question number 38. All of you get the right answer to question number 37. Question number 38. So this is a practical question. Just think and reply. Practical question. How is the indigenous culture, the local culture? How is the local culture of the land being portrayed? So which critical theory you are going to adopt to answer this question? Indigenous culture. So the question is about culture. If I talk about the new historicism is about understanding one text using the history, politics, psychology, sociology, everything. That's about the new historicism. If I talk about psychoanalysis, no association with the culture. Deconstruction, that's a linguistic theory. Post-colonialism is the only option. Let's talk about the culture.
So, but new historicism is also related in some way. When they're talking about indigenous culture, isn't it related to history as well? What we will be studying in depth about what was their history, how did they evolve, on all those things, isn't it?
Yes, right, but not only history, not only history.
Okay, so since post-colonialism is there, we should go for that. If not, then
Yes.
we will be selected.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
So post-colonialism is about the indigenous culture of the land, through this we can reply that how the culture has changed, how the local culture of the land has changed when the land is, whether it is a colonized or not colonized. We can reply to this answer. Question number 39, very easy question. This is the book where Stephen Greenblatt has coined the term new historicism. Renaissance self-fashioning. That's absolutely right. Renaissance self-fashioning is a book of 1980. This was the first time when Stephen Greenblatt has coined the term new historicism in this book. So self-fashioning was used by Stephen Greenblatt in his book Renaissance self-fashioning that appeared in 1980. And Vimla, Sumana, Momita, Tanmay, Suma, all of you get the right answer. That's great. Let's move on to question number 40. So quite a new question. If you've not read about bell hooks, very difficult to reply the answer. The right answer to this question is maintaining status quo. Sumana is absolutely right. In postmodern blackness, bell hooks argues that postmodern theory is good for maintaining status quo. The status is maintained, and the people of the postmodern are mainly focused about maintaining their status in the society. That is, the status quo is to be maintained. So first is the right answer. Let's move on to the next question. And this is a passage. It is going to take a lot of time, so I'll be sending this video. You can solve at your own. I am just going to tell you the right answer so that those who have joined this class for finding the right answer key, they will be helped. So the 41st question, what physical attributes does the poet give to personify love and thought in stanza 1? And the right answer is arms and wings. Question number 42, the phrase that the poet uses to show love's endearing gestures are encircling arms, being in the world embrace. Question number 43, Sirius disk is represented as a luminous star. Question number 44, which emotional stance of love is contrasted with the dauntlessness of thought, that is fearfulness? How does the poet describe the task of thought as Herculean? Herculean means great strength. If you don't know the meaning of Herculean, you can't solve this question. And the right answer is he can cleave interstellar glow. Question option number 4. Let's move on to next question of the passage. Which figure of a speech is repeatedly used in the last stanza? So this question I want answer from all of you. This is the last stanza. You have to find the figure of a speech. Alliteration, that is some say, simply staying, fares far, find fused. So this is how the consonant sound is repeated again and again. So alliteration is the right answer. Which two senses are evoked in the poem? So the two senses are, it is there on a snow and sand and turf. I see where love has left a printed trace. So that is a touch. And the next is smell. Touch and smell is the right answer. The next question, how many times has the poet used a gender defining pronoun for love in the poem? So it has been used only once, that is in the first para, she is used here for love. So once is the right answer. And the contrast being cited in the poem between love and thought is not about sojourning the skies and remaining earthbound. That is the right answer. And the last question of the passage is, the narrator in the poem ends in favor of love because love is enthralled by the heaven's beauty. So these were the answers of the passage. Now we have few questions from grammar. So all of you are linguists and postgraduate students, so very well you can solve these easy questions. Start with question number 51. Pradeepa, Vimla, Namit, Suma, all of you have given the right answer. The right answer is no article, because work is not a definite article. If the name of the work is given, that becomes a definite. The is a definite article. A and N are the indefinite article. So there is no requirement of any article. He is on his way to work. So no article is required here. Let's move on to question number 52. Okay, all of you right several times. I have read the prescribed text several times. That is absolutely right. It's a determiner. Question number 53. Okay, all of you are right. I have gone through both the books. Neither has the information I need. So 4 is absolutely right. All of you are right. Next, move on to next question. Question number 54. Yes, uncountable noun. So a little is the right answer. All of you are right. Let's move on to question number 55. Anyone. Our college is quite a landmark. Anyone can tell you where it is. Anyone is absolutely right. Okay, now next move on to modal auxiliaries verb. Question number 56. Namit, Pratigya, Pradeepa, Momita, all of you are right. Samana, Vimla he could have sent the message immediately rather than delaying its dispatch. That's right. Question number 57. A banyan tree used to be here when we were children. That's absolutely right. All of you are right. Deepika, Suma, Momita, Vimla, Pratigya, Namit, all of you are right. Okay, let's move to question number 58. So, it is an advice when fire breaks out, one should not use the lift, but take the emergency stairs down. So it is an advice. So should be the right modal auxiliary. Next question number 59. Obviously, dare is the right answer. Did he dare criticize my arrangements? Dare is also a modal auxiliary. So dare is the right answer. Next, move on to find a phrasal verb or preposition in question number 60. Okay, the sky is overcast by clouds. I am afraid we are in for a heavy downpour. All of you are getting the right answer. Pradeepa, Deepika, Pratigya, Momita, that's in for a heavy downpour is absolutely right. Next, move on to question number 61. Okay, called out. Called out is a phrase that means calling someone to deal in emergency. He is not an emergency. So right option is called upon. All of you are right. Called upon means calling the people to brief and talk collectively. So the newly elected leader called upon his associates to work for the good of their enterprise. So all of you are right. Sumana, Vimla, Tanmay. Okay, next move to next question number 62. Yes, please. Step up. Step up means increase. So step up is the right answer. This new machine will certainly step up production. So this is the right answer. Tanmay, Vimla, both of you right. Question number 63. Okay, Pratigya, Tanmay, Momita, Vimla, all of you are right. Sumana, the right answer is 2. She returned to her parent company after the completion of her deputation abroad. So 2 is the right preposition. Okay, move on to question number 64. Vimla, Momita, Pradeepa, Sumana, take all of your right. Booked for means blame. The referee was blamed for his decision regarding a penalty as awarded to the team. So booked for is the right answer. All of you are doing great. Let's move on to the sequence of tense. Question number 65. Yes, one is helping verb, one other is the main verb. So had is the right answer. After she had her tea, she felt refreshed. That's absolutely right. Let's move on to question number 66. Now the streets are being used as parking places since the pavements have been encroached upon by the shopkeepers. So D is the right answer. Pratigya, Vimla, Deepika, Momita, all of you right. Let's move on to question number 67. Okay, so this is a wish, and wish always start with would. So would is the right answer. 67 is 4. Tanmay, Momita, Deepika, all of you right. Would you obeyed orders, this disaster would not have happened. So any wish starts with would. Next, move on to question number 68. Let's hope it won't still be raining when we leave. That's absolutely right. Let's hope it won't still be raining when we leave. So 4 is the right answer. Vimla, Tanmay, Sumana, all of you right. Question number 69. Water is absolutely right. Pratigya, Vimla, Sumana, Momita, all of you right. Unless it rains, we will have to water the plants daily. Okay, so we are going fast now. Let's move on to question number 70. Okay, all of you right. Elbow room is the right answer. Elbow room means freedom to move freely without any crowd. So there is certainly more elbow room in the restaurant since they extended the dining area. Bone of contention means disagreement, total disagreement at the end of the conclusion. So that is absolutely wrong. So elbow room is the right answer. Let's move to question number 71. It's a bit tricky. Question number 71. The question setter is just playing with the mind of the students. Every John, Jack, and Jerry. There is no such phrase in English language. Every John, Jack, and Jerry. Rather, in place of John, Jack, and Jerry, the phrase is Tom, Dick, and Harry. Tom, Dick, and Harry. So if Tom, Dick, and Harry was there here, it could have been the right answer. But There is no such phrase. Too many irons in the fire, absolutely wrong. Each and everywhere, that's each and every, take a singular verb, so this is also wrong. So all and sundry means everyone. All and sundry means everyone. So everyone were invited for the interview, and soon there was a Maya. So all and sundry is the right answer. So Jayaprakash and has given the right answer. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 72. I don't like what the new management has done, but to give the devil his due, sales have certainly improved. So give the devil his due means unwillingly giving credit to someone. So here you can see that he said that he doesn't like the new management has done. He don't like it, even though he is giving the credit because the sales has improved. So giving the devil his due is absolutely right answer. So Vimla, Pratigya, both of you are right. Next question number 73. Open question. Pratigya has given the right answer. A question without any general agreed answer is the open question. The conclusion is not achieved. Any question in which the conclusion is not achieved. So it's an open question. Next, we'll move on to question number 74. Stir up a hornet's nest. Yes, very good, Kai. It was a very good example. Question number 74 is to stir up a hornet's nest means to make trouble in someone's life. So according to the option, B should be the right answer, to excite the hostility of others. Okay, question number 75, the last question of this section. Raw deal. Namit has given the right answer, unjust treatment. Unjust treatment. A raw deal means the unjust treatment. Okay, now next move on to the syntax. Identify subject verb agreement. Question number 76. Okay, the right answer to this question is 4. Subject plus verb plus object plus complement. Subject is the I. Envy. That's a verb. You, that's an object. And beautiful is the complement. Beautiful is the adjective complement here for the garden. Garden is a noun. And beautiful represents an adjective complement. So SVOC, subject verb object complement, is the right answer. Tanmay, Vemla, Momita has given the right answer. Let's move on to the next question. A for adjective here. This question 77, A represents adjective. A little kindness.
So
Yes, please.
I think like here long way is here referring to adverb.
Long way is representing, signifying the kindness. Noun. Little kindness is an abstract noun here, and long way signifies a little kindness. So obviously it is adjective. So subject plus verb plus adjective is the right answer. And you have given the right answer. Pratigya and Vimla. Okay, now let's move on to question 78. So I is the subject here. Found is the verb. Have is also a verb. And him is the object here. And friendly, that's again, it is signifying the subject. So it is again adjective complement. So subject plus verb plus object plus complement. That's absolutely right. All of you are right. Deepika, Pratigya, Momita, all of you are right. Okay, let's move on to the next question. To change compound sentence. Yes, all of you are right. Walk carefully or you will fall. So when we are changing a simple sentence into compound sentence, we have to use coordinating conjunction. Coordinating conjunction. There are 7 coordinating conjunction. There is a formula to remember fanboys. I think all of you know. F for, A for and for nor, B for but, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. So if the 7 coordinating conjunctions are used in a sentence, then it is a compound sentence. Whenever we have to change a simple sentence into compound, we have to use either one of the 7 coordinating conjunction. Okay, now let's move on to question number 80. Changing into complex. Whenever we are changing a simple sentence into complex, again we have to use conjunction. That is very important. Without conjunction, we can't make a complex sentence. When we talk about a compound sentence is a mixture of independent clause plus independent clause. Independent clause plus independent clause. That means 2 clauses are independent to each other. They have the meaning of their own. Like in the first sentence, walk carefully. It is complete in itself. So it is independent clause. you will fall. It is again complete in its own sense. So it is again independent clause. When the two independent clauses are mixed together, it becomes the compound sentence. But when you talk about complex sentence, the first clause will be independent clause and the second will be dependent clause. Independent clause plus dependent clause plus dependent clause. There can be many dependent clauses, but there has to be one independent clause. Dependent clause means without independent clause, its meaning is not complete. And here we have to use not coordinating conjunction, rather subordinating conjunction. For making complex sentences, we have to use subordinating conjunctions. So subordinating conjunctions are all pronoun conjunctions, and because is one of them. So fourth is the right answer. They ran because. Because is one of the subordinating conjunction. So they ran because they were challenged. So D is the right answer. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question 81. You must leave the decision to your own judgment. Changes into passive voice.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, I have a doubt in question number 80.
Okay.
Uh, if I look at the fourth sentence, they ran, they were challenged. So, sir, if I talk about the meaning, so like it is giving the meaning, like they ran, it is there is use of intransitive verb, we can say, and they were challenged. Like, sir, will it not be like I'm just saying that will second one will not be correct, like because here we can find that when they were challenged, so we are feeling, we are getting that yes, something is missing, meaning is
Exactly.
incomplete. But and in
Exactly.
question number 4, the meaning seems complete. So sir, what would be the correct option? I'm little bit confused, sir.
No, see, fourth says that the first is they ran. They ran is absolutely right. It is a independent clause. But
Yes,
if
sir.
I talk about the second clause, they were challenged. So there is still a doubt why they were challenged,
Okay. Yes, sir.
isn't it? So this is dependent upon the independent clause, the first clause.
Okay, sir. When we will look at the sentence like because they were challenged, so meaning is missing. Yes, sir. I got
Yes.
it.
So we have to look on, especially we have to look on the subordinating clauses, subordinating conjunctions
Yes, sir.
to easily identify. So you can read through what are the subordinating conjunctions and what are the coordinating conjunctions.
Yes.
Okay, so question number 81, I have received fourth. Decision must be left to your own judgment is absolutely right. Okay, next move on to question number 82. I believe that God exists. Change it to a simple sentence. So, Tanmay, Pratigya, Sumana, all of you right. I believe in God's existence. I think all of you are waiting for the questions of English literature. I am getting very less replies. Okay, no problem. We are just going to finish it up. Question number 83. The first option is right. By someone may be omitted when we are changing active into passive voice, and someone may be or may not be used. That's why it is written in the bracket here. So hole had been made in the fence by someone. So first is the right answer. Let's move on to question number 82. This is the last page of grammar. After this, you'll be getting the literature questions once again. Yes, literature questions are always difficult because it's an ocean And you can see so many quotations has been asked. If you have not read those books like Foucault, Simon de Beauvoir, how will you identify those texts? They're very difficult. So definitely this grammar is quite relaxing. Okay, so the right answer to 84 question is option number 4, because whether and if both cannot be used at one place, both are having the same meaning. So he asked, if I got the job, would I move to Delhi? Is the right answer. Let's move on to question number 85. Change into active voice. Yes, 85-1 is the right answer. The explosion sent things flying in all direction. So Krutika is absolutely right. Next, move on to question number 86. He explained, I know the place well because I used to live here. Change it to indirect. Yes, 3 is absolutely right. He explained that he knew the place well because he used to live there. Tanmay, Pratigya, both of you are right. Okay, let's move on to question number 87. Virtue is its own reward. Take the verb out to make the interrogative. So is not virtue its own award? Question number 88. My friends warned me not to leave my car unlocked. Change into direct speech. So if the question is about warning, so if I talk about the second option, you had better not leave your car unlocked. And the first option is you cannot leave without locking your car. So which is a warning? The friends warned me.
सेकेंड वन, लाइक ऐसा कह रहे लाइक बेहतर होगा कि तुम कार अपनी लॉक ना करो.
Exactly. So second is the right option. You had better not leave your car unlocked, said my friends. So Tanmay, Deepika, Pratigya, all of you are right. Next, move on to question number 89. Interrogative sentence. Yes, first is absolutely right. Is there anything particularly impressive about this picture? That's right. Pratigya, Deepika, both of you are right. And that's the last question of grammar. Question number 90. Change into negative sentence. The right option is 1. When we are changing negative, the sense should not be changed. The sense of the sentence should not be changed. So everyone is not independent means everyone is dependent, and not makes a negative sense here. So everyone is not independent is absolutely right. Okay, so now let's return back to the questions of literature. Now all of you can keenly participate, because now the questions are brain churning. Okay, 91. These 3 are used by Horace in Ars Poetica, and Deus ex machina is used by Aristotle. Deus ex machina. It was used by Aristotle. It is a device to resolve the conflicts in the tragedy. To resolve the conflict in the tragedies. Deus ex machina by Aristotle. So 91 1 is the right answer. Next, move on to question number 2. Another question from Aristotle.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, Dukes, there is a poem also, Dukes ex machina by Auden, maybe.
Dukes, that is Dukes, not Dukes.
Okay.
Deux, Dukes. Dukes as stratagem. Okay, question number 92. Quite confusing options. Aristotle in his Poetics states that the poet should prefer the probable impossibilities in the narration. Probable impossibilities in the narration. So B is the right answer. Probable impossibilities in his narration.
So can you please explain this?
Probable impossibilities means when the poets are using the narrative style in their poem, whatever the impossibilities are there in the view of a reader, all those impossibilities should be mentioned in the poem itself, so that a reader would be better able to understand that narration made by the poet. So whatever the probability is there, that's why he has used the word probable impossibilities. So whatever the impossibilities that can be brought by the poet, whatever the probable impossibilities, they should be brought about by the poet in his narration, so that all those impossibilities can be resolved. Okay. So this question is not from the Poetics, rather rhetorics. It's the same book, is same rhetorics and poetics, but this question is from a rhetorical point of view, that is a narrative point of view. Okay, so let's move on to question number 93. So many questions from Aristotle. '93. Yes, Pratigya is right. Metaphor, command of metaphor is the mark of genius according to Aristotle. So the poet who is able to better use the metaphor as a literary device or poetic device in his poet, he is a genius poet according to Aristotle. So metaphor is the right answer. Rasa theory, just previous week we have studied Rasa theory. Yes, 6 is the right answer. Rasa theory is appeared in Natya Shastra chapter number 6. Total 36 chapters are there, and altogether 8 rasas are there. The 9th rasa was invented in the 11th century by Abhinav Gupta. So altogether there are 9 rasas, but in Natya Shastra only 8 rasas are mentioned. Okay, so let's move on to question number 95. Shahardya. So according to Bharat, Shahardya is a model spectator. It's an outsider, a spectator. Shahardya is a model spectator is the right answer. Yes, Deepika, absolutely right. Okay, next move on to question number 96. Question from Horace. Purple prose. '96. The right answer is number 4. Jayaprakash is absolutely right. Flowery language. That this is the language which is full of adjective, pronouns, metaphors. So it is also known as decorative language, just to decorate. So purple prose means the decorative language or the flowery language. Okay, question number 97.
Sir,
Yes,
what
please.
about purple patch?
Purple?
Patch.
Purple patch.
Patch purple. Sorry, patch purple is also there by Horace.
I'll have to check. I'm not aware about that. Okay. I'll check and let you know. Okay, now let's move on to question number 97. According to Longinus, which aspect doesn't lead to faulty language? When he's talking about the sublime language, he's talking about several vices, several misvirtues that stops making the language a sublime. So there he is talk about three vices which stops the language to become a sublime language. The first vice is turgidity. The second is puerility. If I talk about the term turgidity means the bombastic use of language. So if any poet is using bombastic language, obviously it's going to fail. It's regarded as a vice. If I talk about puerility, it's a childish language. So that is again a vice of a sublime language. And the third is parenthesis. So these are the three vices. So puerility is leading, turgidity is leading, frigidity and simplicity. So frigidity is not mentioned anywhere by Longinus. Simplicity is the right answer. It doesn't lead to faulty language. The simple use of language will never lead to faulty language. So
Excuse me, sir.
yes, please.
Sir, I got it. Purple patches by Horace, which means suddenly there is a blaster in the epic.
Blaster in the epic.
Yeah.
No, purple prose means decorative language.
Sir, I'm talking of purple patch. That's why I'm asking.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Kavita. Okay, now let's move on to question number 98. Who fervently supporting poetry against spurious charges of corrupting men's mind says, need not say that poetry abused man's wit, but the man's wit abused poetry. Abuse of language. It's talking about abuse. You can recall the school of abuse, Stephen Gosson. Yes, Philip Sidney is absolutely right. Philip Sidney, in his defense of Stephen Gosson's school of abuse. So let's move on to question number 99. The word ecstasis finds a place in the critical canon of ecstasis means to stand outside of oneself. Ecstasis. Yes, when Longinus was talking about the sublimity of language, there is talked about ecstasis. So Deepika, Pratigya, Kavita, all of you right. Longinus is the right answer. Let's move on to another question. Question number 100. In whose opinion the theater is not an hospital, while reacting to the Aristotelian concept of catharsis? So you'll find so many new questions and opportunity to learn all these questions. The right answer is F.L. Lucas. He said that theater is not an hospital. F.L. Lucas. Okay, question number 101. Another very deep question. The right answer to this question 101 is Abraham Wright. He was a contemporary of Shakespeare. He attacked Shakespeare's play in 1630s, and he said that it is an indifferent play. The lines are very mean. So the right answer is Abraham Wright. Yes, Sumana, it is Abraham Wright. Okay, next move on to question number 102. Yes, Pratigya is absolutely right. It is Tradition and Individual Talent by T.S. Eliot. Okay, let's move on to question number 103. Paradox. Very well read in our class. Yes, Kenneth Brooks. That's absolutely right. All of you are right. Okay, now let's move on to next question. G. Wilson Knight's The Wheel of Fire. It's a collection of essay on. Yes, Shakespeare's play is absolutely right. Shakespeare play. It's essay on the plays of Shakespeare. Pratigya is absolutely right. Next, move on to question number 105. Who is the author of a critical treatise, a philosophical inquiry into the origin of our ideas of the sublime and beautiful? Must be knowing to this answer. Yes, all of you are right. Deepika, Sumana, Pratigya, it's Edmund Burke. Yes, Mamita is absolutely right. Okay, next move on to question number 106. Markedness, a state of standing out as a non-typical. It was a formalist concept categorized by. So you know, markedness is not by Mikhail Bakhtin, and I said Vladimir Propp has no much invention about criticism. Boris Eichenbaum the same. So right answer is Roman Jakobson. Yes, it is fourth. Kavita, Pratigya, Momita, Deepika, all of you right. Okay, let's move on to the next question. North of Fry. North of Fry, yes, absolutely right. William Blake. And this Fearful Symmetry by North of Fry is based on the poem of William Blake, The Tiger. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? So from there, the title has been taken, Fearful Symmetry. So all of you are absolutely right. Yes, biographer of William Blake. Okay, next again we have come about the Chicago School of Criticism. Just before a while we have talked about all the schools. Chicago School, Frankfurt School. Yes, absolutely right. It is Neo-Aristotelians. Chicago are the Neo-Aristotelians, 1930s. Okay, next move on to question number 109. Which dichotomy was not propounded by Ferdinand de Saussure? Lang and Perroll, signifier, signified, synchronous and dichronous. That's absolutely right. So the right answer is text and context. So all of you are in the right answer. So one easy question in between. So let's move on to the next question. 10110. F.R. Lewis' New Bearings in English Poetry and Revaluation shows the strong influence of which poet on the writer? So F.R. Lewis was heavily influenced by T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot is the right answer. Yes, Pratigya is absolutely right. T.S. Eliot is the right answer. Okay, next move on to question number 111. Essay on criticism was fiercely attacked. However, one of the following did not do so. Who has not attacked? Very easy question. Essay on criticism, 1911, by Pope. Yes, Dryden died in 1700, and this Pope essay on criticism, it's appeared in 1711, not 19. It's 1711. So Dryden was not there. He was not live. How can he attack? So if you know the year of publication of essay on criticism and the death of Dryden, you can very well find the right answer. So John Dryden is the right answer. So you can understand the remembering the year of publication of some important works are very important to find the right answer.
Sir,
Okay,
which is the critical work by John Dennis?
John Dennis is about some rhyme. I don't exactly remember the work.
Fine, fine.
Okay, question 112. Which of the following writers was not associated with aesthetic movement? A very important question. Aesthetic movement that appeared during 1880s and 1890s. (1880s to 1890s). Aesthetic movement. The term aesthetic movement was given by Walter Hamilton. Walter Hamilton in the year 1882. And the title of the book in which this term was given is the Aesthetic Movement in England. Later on, you can note this down. Very important point. The aesthetic movement in England that appeared in 1882. This was the work in which the first time the term aesthetic movement was coined by Walter Hamilton. So the people who were associated with this movement were Walter Pater, Oscar Wilde, William Morris, and D.G. Rossetti. So all these people were associated with the aesthetic movement. Aesthetic movement talks about the art for art's sake. So the other name of the aesthetic movement is arts for art's sake. So the right option is Matthew Arnold. Okay, now let's move on to next question. All of you are very well aware about the touchstone method by Matthew Arnold, intentional fallacy and affective fallacy by Wimsatt and Beardsley, the heresy of paraphrase by Kenneth Brooks, and dissociation of sensibility that appeared in the Metaphysical Poets by T.S. Eliot. So all of you are right. Third option is the right option. Again, question number 114. Just a few days back, we have read about the British literary criticism. And yes, all of you are right. Sumana, Babita, Pratigya. It appeared as a preface to the lyrical ballads. Nature and Function of Poetry appeared as preface to the lyrical ballads. So third is the right option. It is an advertisement appended to the first edition of lyrical ballads. Okay, next question to Keats' idea. When we talk about Keats, need not to read anything much. Keats is only talking about negative capability. Pathetic fallacy by John Ruskin in his Modern Panthers. Unification of sensibility by T.S. Eliot in his Metaphysical Poets, and same dissociation of sensibility in the same work. unification and dissociation of sensibility. So negative capability is the right answer. Next, the same question. The term coined by John Ruskin, just now we have discussed, it's pathetic fallacy. Affective fallacy is by Wimsatt and Beardsley. There is no naturalist and sympathetic fallacy. So pathetic fallacy that appeared by John Ruskin in The Modern Painter. Pathetic fallacy is the right answer. Let's move on to question number 117. Yes, we are getting late today, but let's finish it up. 30 questions are left. Question number 117. Poetry lifts the veil from the hidden beauty of the world and makes familiar objects be as if they were not familiar. So this quotation from P.B. Shelley, The Defense of English Poetry. Yes, P.B. Shelley is absolutely right. Okay, next question 118. John Dryden wrote his defense of an essay on dramatic poesy in response of an attack. Whose attack? He wrote Absalom and Achitophel when he was attacked by Thomas Sadwell, but not an essay on dramatic poesy. Sadwell has attacked Dryden during Popish Plot. So although he was not attacked, but rather he was argued by his brother-in-law, Sir Robert Howard, who also appeared in this essay, Robert Howard. So the right answer is second option, Sir Robert Howard. Okay, let's move on to next question, G.M. Hopkins. Gerard Manley Hopkins described Alfred Tennyson pejoratively as a Parnassian. Yes, Pratigya, absolutely right. It's Parnassian because of what Hopkins considered him as uninspired poetry. Parnassian is absolutely right. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Gerard Manley Hopkins derived his concept of inner scape and inner strays from the ideas of the medieval philosopher, French philosopher Duns Scotus. Duns Scotus has also used the term inner scape and inner stress. Okay, now let's move on to the next question, 121. The poet's mind is in fact respectable of seeking and storing up numberless feelings, prejudice, images which remain there until all the particles which can unite to form a new compound are present together. So you know that T.S. Eliot in his essay, Tradition and Individual Talent, he talks about the talent of the poet. So there he talks about the poet's talent, the poet's mind. So the right answer is yes, T.S. Eliot's Tradition and Individual Talent. Yes, exactly, Pratigya, Tanmay. Yes, all of you right. Okay, let's move on to question number 122. Dryden in his essay on dramatic poesy does not debate. So if you're not read this essay, you can't solve this question. Okay, so 122 question is still doubtful to me because there is a description of unity of time, place, and action, and there is also about use of rhyme. And there is at one place there is a description of poetic justice as well, and at one place there is a distinction between poetry and tragedy. Poetry and play both. So let's see, let's wait for the final answer key. There is a doubt between the option 2 and 3. If any one of you find the right answer, also let me know about it. Okay, so let's move on to next question, 123. Some question in all the exams remains controversial. Lives of most eminent poets. Very famous work by Samuel Johnson, 1752 work. And again, this question is controversial because all the names appeared in this work. Milton Gray, Abraham Cowley, and Jonathan Swift. All the names are there. So let's see what it should come under the controversial question. Okay, let's move on to the next question. A book of grammar, a grammar of motives. Grammar of motive is written by. Okay, the right answer is, I didn't get the right answer by any one of you, Kenneth Burke. Kenneth Burke is the right answer. A Grammar of Motives by Kenneth Burke. Okay, let's move on to question number 125. Another question about an essay of dramatic poesy, very deep question. Just before a while, we have read that Dryden's essay of dramatic poesy appeared because of the attack by his brother-in-law, Sir Robert Howard. But here it appears that it was a counter of Samuel Sorbier. So all these are just predictions. Nothing is sure about what is the right answer. But we have to find the right answer to this question. Samuel Sorbier has written a work in the year 1664, and it was attacked by Thomas Sprat and later on by John Dryden. So third is the right answer. Yes, Pratigya is right. Okay, let's move on to question 126. We are just going to finish in next 10 minutes. Yes, we are getting delayed today. Okay, so on some technical elements of style in literature. It's an essay by R.L. Stevenson. On some technical elements of style in literature by R.L. Stevenson. Next, The Sense of an Ending. It's a book by Sense of an Ending. Very familiar book. Frank Kermode. Frank Kermode is the right answer. So all of you need to remember all these important books. Very important book, The Sense of an Ending by Frank Kermode. Okay, next. Which notorious critic of Shakespeare said that his plays were trivial and positively bad? Who has dared to criticize the plays of Shakespeare? Yes, Tanmay is absolutely right. It's Leo Tolstoy on Shakespeare and drama. Yes, it's absolutely right. Leo Tolstoy is right. Okay, according to S.T. Coleridge, the function of a critic. Biography Literaria. Question 129. Function of a critic. Yes, it is to interpret and judge. So the function of critic, the role of a critic is to first interpret it and then judge it. Critic is not to appreciate. He has to criticize. Criticize means he can appreciate also and he can neglect also. So he has to interpret and judge, not appreciate. Okay, question number 130. On the artificial comedy of the last century. And this essay appeared in the collection, The Essays of Elia. So Charles Lamb is the right answer. It is one of the essays of Elia by Charles Lamb. Characters of Shakespeare's play. That's another book of criticism written by. So many books of criticism you have learned today. Characters of Shakespeare's play. It's by William Hazlitt. Characters of Shakespeare play is by William Hazlitt. Yes, Tanmay, absolutely right. Okay, so two more slides are there. Let's finish it up. Who among the following has not contributed to the canon of structuralist literary criticism? That means who is not associated with structuralism? Claude Lévi-Strauss, George Louis Borges, Vladimir Prop, and Algirdas Gremias. And the right answer is George Louis Borges. Okay, next move on to the next question. Arrange the following essays by T.S. Eliot in the chronological order. So this should be the right by all of you. While I was talking about T.S. Eliot, I have deeply talked about all these essays. Hamlet and His Problem. 1920, Tradition and Individual Talent was the first essay by T.S. Eliot. 1919, Metaphysical Poet, just 1 year after it. 1921, 1919, 1920, 1921, and Homage to Dryden in 1924. Yes, B is the right answer. BCAD. Tradition and Individual Talent first, and after that Hamlet and His Problems, and then Metaphysical Poets, and finally Homage to Dryden. So if you don't know these years of publication, kindly remember it. And next, move on to the next question. Concept not included in those of I.A. Richards used to substantiate interpretive criticism. The right answer is ambiguity. Ambiguity was the term that was used by Ampson, 7 types of ambiguities. So ambiguity is not the term by I. Richard. William Ampson, 7 types of ambiguities. Let's move on to the next question, number 135. Who said that there should be 5 acts in a play? It's written fire here. It should be 5 acts in a play. Only 3 actors at a time on the stage. Scenes of bloodshed should be off stage, and hexameter verse should be there for the war poems. So whose ideas was this? This was the idea of Horace. Yes, Tanmay, absolutely right. It was the idea of Horace. The next question, Road to Xanadu. It's written by whom? Road to Xanadu. Road to Xanadu. No, it's not Coleridge. The right answer to this question is Herbert Reed. No, sorry, J.L. Lowes. J.L. Lowes. Road to Xanadu is written by J.L. Lowes. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Poetry is the first and last of all knowledge. It is as immortal as the heart of man. Who is talking about poetry? Who is defending poetry? The right answer to this question is William Wordsworth in the preface of the Lyrical Ballads. What is the first and last of all knowledge? William Wordsworth. Question number 138. Poetry thus makes immortal all that is best and most beautiful in the world. Who said this? The right answer to question number 138 is William P.B. Shelley. P.B. Shelley is the right answer. Poet thus makes immortal all that is best and most beautiful in the world. Okay, last but one slide. According to which school of thought the critic ought to be considered to create the finished work by his reading of it and not to remain simply an inert consumer of a ready-made product? Which school thinks like this? To create. Yes, very right. Reader response theory, where the reader is creating something new out of the work. Reader response theory is absolutely right. Timber or discoveries made upon men and matter. That's a critical work by. Timber or discoveries. And the right answer is Ben Jonson. Okay, question number 141. A linguistic system is a series of differences of sound. Linguistic system, linguistic system. Who is associated with linguistic system? Ferdinand de Saussure. Yes, Ferdinand de Saussure. Okay, let's move on to the next question, 142. There's a quotation. T.S. Eliot says this in which of the essay? The Business of Poet. Just now we have talked about tradition and individual talent. That is absolutely right. Tradition and individual talent. The business of the poet is not to find new emotions. Okay, question number 143. Which among the following books cannot be said to incorporate ideas similar to new criticism? I.A. Richards from New Criticism, Kenneth Brooks again from New Criticism, William Ampson again from New Criticism, Stephen Greenblatt from New Historicism. So this is the right answer. Next question. T.S. Eliot's concept of tradition is countered by Harold Bloom. Harold Bloom. Heresy of paraphrase not by Harold Bloom. It is by Kenneth Brooks. Anxiety of influence by Harold Bloom. This is the only, out of the four, this is the only book by Harold Bloom. Affective fallacy, Wimsatt and Burst, The Dissociation of Sensibility by T.S. Eliot. So the right answer is anxiety of influence. Okay, the last slide. Postmodernist thinkers developed concepts like difference and hyperreality. For which purpose? The right answer is grand narratives and univocity of being. Grand narratives and univocity of being. That's the right answer. Who said that there is nothing outside the text? Very simple question. It appeared in Of Grammatology by Jack Derrida, 1966, translated by Gayatri Spivak. Question number 147. The most striking aspect of linguistic competence is what we may call the creativity of language. When we talk about linguistic competence, then it is something related to language and grammar. The right answer is Noam Chomsky, generative capacity. The next question, question number 148. Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak. Which concept by Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak? Very easy question. Subaltern. Can the subaltern speak? A very famous work by Gayatri Chakravarti. Question number 149. What is an author? Very famous essay by Michel Foucault. What is an author? Now the last question, who coined the term gender performativity? This term was coined by Judith Butler. Gender performativity. But not there in the option. Let's wait for the answer key. It should come under the controversial question. So now we have finished 150 questions and all of you have participated very well.